day, everyone. My name is Audrey Coleman. I'm Associate Director and Director of Museum and Archives at the Dole Institute of Politics. And I'm so pleased to come to you today to discuss our fourth installment of our update on our League of Wives, Vietnam's POW MIA Allies and Advocates exhibit that debuted at the Dole Institute in 2017. The exhibit was curated by historian and author Heath Artidge Lee, who was our Dole Archives Curatorial Fellow and the author of the book by the same name. Today, I am with Vickie Stone, who is the curator at Coronado Historical Association in Coronado, California. And their site was the third traveling installation of this exhibit, and it just recently closed. So I'm so excited to visit with you, Vickie, about your experience with the exhibit. And thanks for being with me today.
Well, thanks for having me.
So this exhibit, as we've discussed before, has national impact, and it really highlights the leadership of women who made a big difference in so many ways nationally and around the world, but it has its roots in local communities all over the country. So tell us a little bit about the origins and the roots of the League of Wives story in your community.
Definitely. So Coronado is home to Naval Air Station Coronado, and so we have a very strong Navy community here in town, and we are lucky that Sybil Stockdale lived here, and her husband was a POW, and he was actually the highest ranking naval officer who was a POW, and so she really rallied during the time that she was ordered to keep quiet. She really decided to do her own working and started talking to media about her husband's situation, and she wasn't going to keep quiet, and she started to work in her own ways, and she rallied other women in our community who were POW wives and started meetings at her home here in town to get the movement going and to reach the people she needed to reach in order to help her husband back. And so Coronado is really a special place in the story because for the West Coast at least, Coronado was kind of the central hub, and Sybil's house was that meeting place. And so the League of Wives story is really special because it has roots here in Coronado.
Mm-hmm. And you all, and your installation of the exhibit, one of the cool things about it is that we sort of have this core installation, these core elements of the exhibit, but then we've asked that traveling sites, make it their own and add their own stories. And you've added additional stories, not additional artifacts, and some of those are show-stopping, but also additional stories of women also local to your area. So could you tell us more about some of those things and people?
Definitely. So Stockdale definitely was the main woman that we were featuring on our stop because it's so influential and such a leader. And we were lucky to have her original kitchen table featured. The women sat around and had their meetings featuring our installation of the exhibit. But we were also to share the story of people in our community, such as Pat Mearns, who she was an MIA wife who worked with Sybil and the POW wives to try to get their husbands returned, and also information about her husband. Unfortunately, she found out 11 years later that her husband was actually killed. But we really wanted to feature her in the exhibit because she was a very strong advocate for the POW and MIA movement. And so we were lucky enough to put her story in our local installation of the exhibit.
The opening, it was so fun with the opening last fall to get to meet some of the women who worked with Sybil. Did you, besides Mary Pat, were you able to get in touch with, did this create an opportunity to meet new women who you didn't know before?
Oh, absolutely. There is Jenny Robinson and Henry Burns, who they were able to come to our exhibit opening, which is really great. It's actually really interesting because our community, there was women we knew about, and then as we started advertising, talking to people about the exhibit, other women in the community forward themselves and said, "Oh, my husband was also a POW," or somebody would tell us, "Oh, I know another woman that you need to get in contact." And so we were able to connect with them and invite them to the exhibit opening, and it really enriched the exhibit because even after we installed, there were still people coming, "Hey, I have something to confess," and we were able to collect the stories, not only just for this exhibit, but to live on in our archives.
Mm-hmm. That's great. We had the same experience at the Dole Institute where we met a couple of other women who not only identified, after we had the exhibit up, they identified themselves as being part of the movement and having had that experience, and then also offering up their collection. So I'm glad that that has kind of rippled throughout all the different communities with this.
Yes, and it's so important that each community is collecting those local stories and letting them live on for our communities for the future.
Your museum is right on the main drag. You get a lot of tourist traffic where you are. Was this exhibit attended by people from outside of the area?
Oh, absolutely. We get a lot of foot traffic, and we had about 25,000 people come see the exhibit while it was open, and a majority of those were people visit town. And we have a lot of people who come to Coronado every year. That's their summer vacation, is to come to Coronado. So we had a lot of those visitors, but we also got a lot of locals too. This definitely is a local story, and lots of people have memories of Sybil working with her, and so it was really great to see that this exhibit was perfect both for our visitors coming to Coronado, but also our locals.
Well, it was so exciting to be able to debut this exhibit at the Dole Institute and then reformat it and have partnerships with institutions like yours to be able to put it in the place where it arguably has the very most impact and resonance with the local audience. So thanks so much for being a partner with us in this exhibit.
Well, thank you. It's been really wonderful to work with both you and Heath, and I think Coronado really benefited from the exhibit, and we're very, very proud to be at one of the stops along the way.
Thanks so much for joining us today, Vickie.
Thank you.
And for all of you at home, I look forward to seeing you for our final installment. We'll give you a preview about what's next for the League of Wives, Vietnam's POW, MIA Allies and Advocates exhibit. So until next time, be well.